He called me clingy and embarrassing while I was literally sitting next to him at dinner. And he wasn't talking to me, he was texting her. So yeah, I got petty. I texted her fiancé, "Please stay with me as I tell you my story. And please do not forget to support our channel by subscribing, liking, and sharing with your loved one." We'd been together for 5 years, the kind of relationship where you think you've made it, shared bills, inside jokes, Sunday routines. But for the past few months, things were off. He started guarding his phone like it held state secrets. He worked late for no reason. He stopped touching me in small, thoughtless ways. And worst of all, I accepted it. I told myself all couples go through rough patches. Then came the dinner. A friend of his had invited us to a casual evening out, 4 of us. Drinks, laughs, good food. What he didn't tell me was that the woman sitting across from us, smiling sweetly and chatting like nothing was wrong, was his mistress. He introduced her as a co-worker, said she and her fiancé were new to the city. Her fiancé couldn't make it that night, apparently. Work thing, she explained. I bought the lie for about 10 minutes. Something about the way she looked at him felt off, like they had secrets, like she knew him in a way I didn't anymore. Halfway through dinner, he handed me his phone to show a dumb meme. I wish he hadn't, because right above the meme was a text notification from her. "She's so clingy, I'm losing it. Embarrassed to even be seen with her tonight." And there she was, sitting across from me, pretending, laughing, sipping her wine like she wasn't blowing up my life. I didn't flinch. I didn't react. I handed the phone back, smiled, and made it through dinner like nothing happened. But when we got home, I locked myself in the bathroom, screenshot the message, and started digging. Her name, her profile, everything was public. And that's when I found him, her fiancé. I didn't cry. I didn't confront either of them. I just stared at his face on her page and thought, he deserves to know too. I sat on the edge of my bed that night, holding my phone like it was a weapon. My hands were shaking, but my mind was clear. I needed to know who she really was. I had her first name from the message. That was enough to start. I opened Instagram and typed it in, adding a few other clues from earlier. Her job title, the company name he mentioned once by accident, even a half-remembered photo of her dog. It didn't take long. Her profile popped up. Same face, same voice, same laugh from dinner. But what really made my stomach turn was her bio. Engaged to my best friend, counting down to forever. Her feed was full of photos. Him lifting her at the beach, her trying on wedding dresses, cheesy captions about soulmates and lucky women. One post had both of their hands with matching rings, and the caption said, "Next time I wear white, it'll be at the altar." I couldn't believe it. The woman sitting across from me, texting my boyfriend under the table, was planning a wedding with someone else. She had a whole life being built with another man, and she smiled at me over wine like none of it mattered. I scrolled for an hour. I watched videos of them laughing in a cabin, dancing at a party, kissing on a rooftop at sunset. They looked happy, real. She didn't seem like someone who could do this. Then again, maybe I didn't either. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just my heartbreak. There was another person out there, somewhere, who thought he was building forever with her. A man who probably had no idea what was happening behind his back. And now I was the only one who knew the truth. I could have messaged him right away, but I didn't. Not yet. I wanted to be sure. I needed everything. Screenshots, dates, proof of what they were doing. If I was going to pull the trigger, I had to be ready. I started saving the messages, every text, every picture. I made a folder, labeled it something boring so he wouldn't notice. I felt sick, but focused. This wasn't just about catching them. It was about not letting them lie their way out, not giving them the chance to twist things. They had built a fake world on top of 2 real ones, and if they thought no one would burn it down, they were wrong. The next day, I acted like nothing had happened. I smiled when he kissed my forehead and asked if I slept okay. I told him I had a headache, which wasn't a lie. My whole body felt tired from pretending, but I needed to play it cool until I had more. Later that evening, while we were watching TV, I asked him a simple question. I said, "Hey, who was texting you at dinner last night?" He looked up from his phone and blinked like he was surprised I noticed. Then he smiled, like it was no big deal, and said it was one of his friends from work. I asked him what they were talking about. That's when his smile faded a little. He leaned back, shrugged, and said, "It was just a joke. You know how guys are. We were laughing about something stupid." I didn't press too hard. I let him talk. He said I was reading too much into it. that I was acting paranoid. He even joked, "You always get weird when I'm on my phone. You've got to relax." It hurt, the way he twisted it around, like I was crazy, like the message I read with my own eyes wasn't what it clearly was. I nodded like I believed him. I let him think he won. That night, I waited until he fell asleep. I could hear his breathing slow, his chest rising and falling. I reached for his phone slowly, carefully. My heart was pounding. I used his fingerprint while he was sleeping to unlock it. I hated myself for doing it, but I had to know the truth. The messages were all still there, not just one or two, dozens. Every text felt like a punch in the stomach. They flirted like teenagers, sent pictures, some normal, some I wish I could unsee. There were voice notes too. I didn't even listen to them all, just enough to hear him calling her baby in the same voice he used to call me babe. I started taking screenshots, every message, every photo. My hands were shaking, but I didn't stop. I emailed them to myself. I wanted everything saved. No one could lie their way out of this now. By the time I was done, it was almost morning. I sat there, staring at him sleeping peacefully, like nothing was wrong, like he wasn't breaking two people at the same time. And that's when the rage started to grow. Quiet at first, but steady. I spent the whole next day looking at the screenshots I had saved. Every message between them made me feel sick, but I wasn't just reading them. I was looking for something, a clue, a name, anything that could lead me to her fiancé. It didn't take long. In one of the messages, she wrote, "Eric's out of town this weekend," followed by a smiley face. My eyes locked on that name, Eric. I searched her Instagram again and checked the photos with captions. One of them said, "Can't wait to marry you, Eric." That was it. Now I had a name, a face, a person whose life was being ruined just like mine. I stared at his pictures for a long time. He looked so happy in them, smiling wide with his arms around her. No idea what was going on. No idea that the woman he wanted to marry was sleeping with someone else. My someone else. I opened the message box on Instagram and started typing, then deleted it, typed again, then deleted that too. I didn't know how to say it. I didn't want to hurt him, but the truth was already hurting both of us. I just didn't want him to feel blindsided without proof. Finally, I decided to keep it simple. I wrote, "Hi, Eric. I'm really sorry you have to see this, but I think you should know the truth." Then I attached 5 screenshots, just enough to show it wasn't a mistake, wasn't taken out of context, wasn't a one-time thing. I hit send and sat there frozen. He read it within minutes. His profile picture lit up. I could see the little scene under my message, but he didn't reply. Not for 10 minutes, not for 30, not for hours. I checked my phone so many times, I started to feel sick. Maybe he thought I was lying. Maybe he already knew. Maybe he didn't want to believe it. It was getting dark when the message finally came. Just 5 words. "Let's destroy them. I'm in." I stared at the screen, feeling like everything around me went quiet. This stranger on the other side of the phone wasn't mad at me. He believed me. And now, he wanted revenge too. For the first time in days, I didn't feel alone. I didn't know what we'd do yet, but I knew one thing for sure. We weren't going to let them get away with it. After Eric sent that message, we started talking every day. At first, it was just about the messages and the pictures, but then it turned into full conversations. We both needed someone who understood how it felt, being lied to, played, made to feel stupid. He told me how much he had already spent on the wedding, thousands of dollars, the venue, the dress, the catering, all booked and paid for. He had even put a down payment on a house for them. It made me angry for him. She had let him plan a future while sneaking around behind his back, and I felt the same way. My boyfriend had built a life with me, while having someone else the whole time. We didn't deserve this. We didn't deserve to be the ones left in the dark, so we made a plan. We knew we couldn't just confront them with a text or a private talk. It had to be public, real, unforgettable. Eric had an idea. He said we should arrange a dinner, one where both couples would be present. He would tell her it was to celebrate their engagement with a few close friends. I would tell my boyfriend it was a dinner with some people from Eric's work. That way, they wouldn't suspect anything. It sounded risky, but we both agreed. If we were going to do this, it had to hurt. It had to be something they'd remember, something they couldn't talk their way out of. So we picked a date. We booked a table at a nice restaurant. Eric sent her the invite. She said yes right away. My boyfriend didn't even ask questions when I told him. He just nodded and went back to scrolling through his phone. In the days leading up to the dinner, I played my part perfectly. I smiled, I laughed at his dumb jokes. I acted like nothing had changed. He had no idea I knew. No idea I'd read every word, seen every photo, heard his voice calling her love. Eric did the same on his end. He sent me screenshots of their conversations leading up to the dinner. She acted excited, talked about what dress to wear. It was all fake. They thought they were safe. They had no idea what we were about to do. And honestly, that made it even better. The night finally came. I got dressed like it was any other night out. My hands were shaking while I put on my makeup, but I kept telling myself to stay calm. I looked in the mirror and tried to smile. My boyfriend came out of the shower, looked at me, and said I looked nice. I nodded, said thank you, and kept it together. The restaurant was beautiful. Dim lights, soft music, expensive menus. The kind of place where people celebrated anniversaries, proposals, birthdays. It felt wrong to be there, but also perfect for what was coming. We arrived first. Then Eric and her walked in. She was wearing a red dress, hair done up, smiling like her life was perfect. My boyfriend stood up to greet them, gave her a hug that lasted too long. I almost laughed. He still had no clue. We all sat down. 4 people, 2 lies, and only Eric and I knew what was about to happen. The first half of dinner felt like a movie. They chatted, laughed, told stories. I nodded along, pretending to listen, feeling my heartbeat in my ears. The food came. No one ate much. I kept looking at Eric, and he looked back once in a while, like checking if I was still okay. I was. Then came the toast. Eric picked up his glass and stood up, smiling. She looked up at him with those soft, trusting eyes. My boyfriend leaned back in his chair, sipping wine like everything was normal. Eric said, I just want to make a quick toast. To all of us. New friends, old friends. Then he paused. And to liars, cheaters, and the screenshots that exposed them. Everyone froze. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out his phone, calmly, like it was nothing. Then he placed it on the table and hit play. A voice message played first. Her voice, sweet, flirty. Then a reply. My boyfriend's voice, calling her baby, asking when he could see her again. Then came the texts, one by one, sliding across the screen. Everyone could see. She gasped, hand over her mouth. Her face went pale. My boyfriend's eyes went wide. He grabbed for the phone, but Eric moved it away. People at other tables turned to look. A waiter stood frozen nearby, holding a tray with drinks that never made it to the table. It was silent for a second, then chaos. She started crying, saying it wasn't what it looked like. My boyfriend stood up, stuttering, trying to explain. I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. The truth was finally out. My boyfriend lunged for the phone, his voice rising, trying to grab it from the table. I moved fast and blocked his hand without thinking. He looked at me with wide eyes, like I had just betrayed him, like he was the one who got hurt. But he wasn't. He was just caught. The woman stood up quickly, her chair tipped slightly, almost falling. She covered her mouth with both hands and stared at Eric, then at me. Her eyes filled with tears in seconds. She didn't say anything, just turned and rushed out of the restaurant, pushing past a waiter on the way. Everyone was watching now. The whole place had gone silent, except for the clinking of silverware and the sound of her crying as she ran outside. Eric followed her, but he didn't look angry. He looked done, finished. He had something in his hand, a small box. The ring. She had worn it at dinner, showing it off without a care. I saw him stop just a few feet behind her on the sidewalk. He didn't yell or cause a scene. He simply took her hand, slipped off the ring, and walked away. She dropped to the ground, sobbing right there on the pavement. Inside, my boyfriend was still talking, trying to explain, trying to make it seem like it wasn't what it looked like. It didn't mean anything, he said. We weren't serious. I love you, not her. I didn't even look at him. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. I picked up my purse and stood. He reached out to touch my arm, but I stepped away. I walked out of the restaurant slowly, with my head high. Everyone watched, but I didn't care. I didn't run. I didn't cry. I didn't say a single word to anyone. I just left. Outside, Eric was already gone. The woman was still there, curled up on the edge of the sidewalk, shaking. My boyfriend came out a minute later, calling my name. I kept walking. I didn't turn around, not once. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in my room and stared at the ceiling. I thought about everything, all the lies, all the fake smiles, the long nights wondering what I had done wrong. And now, I finally had my answer. They thought we'd never find out, but we did. And I hoped that moment at the dinner table would stay with them for the rest of their lives. The next morning, I woke up to missed calls and voicemail. His name filled my screen. I didn't listen to most of them, but the first few were all the same. Apologies, excuses, begging. He said he made a mistake, that he didn't mean to hurt me, that it didn't mean anything. I deleted every message without answering. I didn't need to hear his voice anymore. He sent flowers that afternoon, a big bouquet of red roses, with a note that said, "Please talk to me." I left them outside my door. By the next day, they were wilted. I threw them away without a second thought. I blocked his number, then I blocked his email. I didn't want to give him any more space in my life, not even a small one. Eric and I talked once later that week, just a short phone call. He sounded tired but calm. He said the wedding was officially cancelled. He had called the venue, the florist, the photographer, everyone. Most of the vendors gave him refunds. Some didn't, but he didn't care. He just wanted to be done. He said he was moving out of the apartment they shared. Said it felt strange packing up boxes while she cried in the next room, but he didn't stop. I asked him if he was okay. He said, "I will be." I believed him. Word spread fast. Even without us saying anything, people started talking. Friends asked questions. Stories started coming back to me. Turns out we weren't the only ones they had lied to. Some of their mutual friends found out and were shocked. Others said they had always suspected something. The woman deleted everything, not just her photos, but her whole online presence. No profile, no posts, no name. She disappeared, like erasing herself would erase what she did. But it was too late. I didn't feel proud. I didn't feel powerful. I felt tired, sad, but also calm. There was no more guessing, no more worrying about why he was distant or what he was hiding. I finally had answers. Ugly ones, yes, but real. That night, I sat on my couch alone, wrapped in a blanket. It was quiet, and I liked it that way. I made myself tea. I didn't cry. I didn't smile either. But for the first time in a long time, I felt peace. And that was enough. Weeks passed, and life slowly began to feel quiet again. I didn't jump into anything new. I didn't rush to feel better. I just gave myself space. I started seeing a therapist. At first, I didn't know what to say, but just talking to someone who didn't know him, didn't know me, helped more than I expected. I could say anything. No judgment, no pretending. One day, I booked a small trip for myself. Nothing fancy. Just a quiet town with mountains, fresh air, and a hotel with no memories. I packed light and left without telling anyone. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I was running. I felt like I was going somewhere that was mine. Eric and I still talk sometime, just short calls or messages here and there. We never talked about them anymore. It felt like that part of the story was over. We talked about normal things, work, books, random thoughts. He was healing in his own way, and I was doing the same. We didn't need to be anything more than friends. It was enough to know we had survived it together. Then one afternoon, I heard a knock at the door. I wasn't expecting anyone. I looked through the peephole and felt my stomach drop. It was him. My ex stood there holding a small bag. His eyes looked tired, like he hadn't slept. He knocked again, called my name. I didn't open the door. Instead, I picked up my phone and pressed record. I didn't speak. I didn't move. I just let the camera capture it. Him standing there, begging quietly, looking at the door like maybe I'd forgive him if he stood there long enough. He left after a few minutes. I never opened the door. Later, I watched the video back. It felt strange, like I was watching someone else's story, someone I didn't know anymore. He was a stranger now. I showed the clip to a friend, and we talked for hours. That's when the idea came. What if I created something from this mess? Something useful. So I started working on something new. I gave it a name that felt honest. Screenshots and consequences. I wanted to create a space where people could talk about secrets, lies, and what happened after. I didn't care about followers. I just wanted to share the truth. Not to be famous, not to hurt anyone, but to be free. And maybe help others feel that way too. Life didn't go back to what it was before, but it moved forward. I was different now, stronger, clearer. I had let go of the need to understand why they did it. Some questions didn't need answers. What mattered was that I had faced it, and I didn't let them break me. Over time, I started to hear from people who had been through the same thing. They thanked me, not because I was perfect, but because I didn't stay silent. Some said they finally had the courage to walk away from lies. Others said they felt seen for the first time. Every message reminded me that pain wasn't just mine. It was shared, and so was the strength to get through it. I wasn't proud of the hurt I'd gone through, but I was proud that I didn't let it go unnoticed. that I stood up when it would have been easier to walk away quietly. He thought he could insult me in front of her, and I would stay small, stay quiet. But I didn't. He insulted me in front of his mistress. So I texted her fiancé. And it was the best message I've ever sent. Do you think I did the right thing by texting her fiancé? Or should I have just walked away and let it go? I'd really love to hear what you would have done in my place. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm curious to see what you all think. And if you enjoy stories like this one, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new one.